DMX faced a tumultuous upbringing from the start. His early years were marked by a series of hardships that would shape his character and influence his music profoundly. Born in 1970, his early life was marred by poverty, violence, and instability. Growing up in a struggling family, DMX was no stranger to the harsh realities of life. The environment around him was one of constant turmoil, where the next meal was never guaranteed and safety was a luxury. Raised primarily in Yonkers, New York, DMX's family life was fractured. His parents' relationship was tumultuous, filled with arguments and conflicts that left a lasting impact on young Earl. The instability at home meant that he often had to fend for himself, learning to navigate a world that seemed indifferent to his struggles. He experienced neglect and abuse, finding little solace in a home environment that offered him little warmth or support. The emotional and physical neglect he endured left deep scars, making it difficult for him to trust others or feel secure. This lack of a nurturing environment pushed him further into isolation. Adding to his struggles, DMX suffered from severe asthma, often finding himself hospitalized and struggling to breathe. These frequent hospital visits were a stark reminder of his vulnerability, and the chronic illness added another layer of difficulty to his already challenging life. The constant battle with his health issues made him feel even more isolated and misunderstood. These early health challenges left an undeniable mark on the young DMX, shaping his worldview and later finding expression in his raw and powerful lyrics. The pain and frustration he felt during these formative years became a wellspring of inspiration for his music, allowing him to channel his emotions into his art. He sought refuge in music, but even this escape was complicated by a tumultuous home life. Music became his sanctuary, a place where he could express his innermost thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. However, the chaos at home often interrupted his creative process, making it difficult for him to find peace even in his passion. By his early teens, DMX was caught in a cycle of petty crime and run-ins with the law. The streets of Yonkers offered little in the way of positive role models, and he found himself drawn into a world of crime as a means of survival. These early encounters with the legal system only served to reinforce his feelings of anger and resentment. He found himself in and out of boys' homes, institutions that did little to address the root causes of his pain and anger. These places were often harsh and unforgiving, providing little in the way of genuine support or rehabilitation. Instead of finding solace, DMX's time in these institutions only deepened his sense of alienation and mistrust. These early experiences with the harsh realities of poverty, institutionalization, and street life would become recurring themes in DMX's music, forming the bedrock of his raw and often autobiographical lyrical style. His songs would later reflect the struggles and injustices he faced, resonating with listeners who had experienced similar hardships. The seeds of his artistic voice were sown in the pain and hardship of his youth, experiences that would later resonate with millions of listeners who connected with his honesty and vulnerability. Through his music, DMX found a way to transform his pain into something powerful and meaningful, creating a legacy that would inspire and move people around the world. Music, however, remained a constant source of solace and strength. It was a lifeline, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. For many, music is a form of expression, a way to communicate emotions that words alone cannot convey. For DMX, it was all of this and more. While incarcerated, DMX began to take his songwriting seriously. The confines of his cell became a sanctuary where he could pour his heart and soul into his lyrics. Each line he wrote was a reflection of his inner turmoil, his struggles and his dreams. The prison walls, though confining, could not contain his creativity. He honed his rapping skills, battling other inmates and crafting lyrics that reflected the harsh realities of prison life. These battles were more than just competitions, they were a way for DMX to assert his identity and earn respect. The prison yard became his stage and his fellow inmates his audience. Behind bars, DMX's raw talent couldn't be contained. His passion for music was evident in every performance, every verse he spit. The walls of his cell were adorned with music notes, a testament to his dedication and his relentless pursuit of perfection. He began to see music as more than just an escape. It was a way to channel his pain, his anger, and his growing sense of spiritual yearning. Each lyric was a cathartic release, a way to process his emotions and make sense of his experiences. Music became his therapy, his way of coping with the harsh realities of prison life. Word of DMX's lyrical prowess spread beyond the prison walls. Fellow inmates and even prison staff began to take notice of his talent. His reputation as a formidable rapper grew, and soon his name was being whispered in the underground hip-hop circles of New York. He began recording homemade mixtapes which circulated through the underground hip-hop scene in New York. These tapes were raw and unpolished, but they captured the essence of DMX's talent. They were a glimpse into his soul, a preview of the artist he was destined to become. His gritty, confessional style, coupled with his booming voice and intense delivery, set him apart from other aspiring rappers. Each performance was a testament to his authenticity, his willingness to lay bare his soul for the world to see. His voice was powerful, his delivery electrifying. DMX wasn't just rapping, he was baring his soul, laying bare the pain and struggles of a life lived on the margins. His lyrics were a raw and unfiltered look into his life, his experiences and his emotions. They resonated with listeners because they were real, they were honest. This raw authenticity resonated with listeners, and soon DMX found himself on the radar of the music industry, even while still incarcerated. Record label executives were intrigued by his talent, his story, and his potential. They saw in him a star in the making, a voice that could captivate the world. His time behind bars, though a dark chapter in his life, had inadvertently laid the foundation for his rise to fame. It was in the solitude of his cell that he discovered his true voice, his true calling. The darkness of his past became the fuel for his future success. It was there, in the confines of prison, that DMX discovered his true voice as an artist. A voice that would soon captivate the world. His journey from the prison yard to the stage was a testament to his resilience, his talent, and his unwavering belief in himself. DMX's story is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of places, one can find their true calling and rise above their circumstances. Upon his release, DMX's raw talent and growing buzz caught the attention of Def Jam Recordings, a label renowned for nurturing some of hip-hop's biggest stars. Def Jam, known for its keen eye for talent and its ability to transform underground artists into mainstream sensations, saw something special in DMX. They recognized his potential to bring a new raw energy to the hip-hop scene, which was becoming increasingly commercialized. In 1998, DMX released his debut album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, which catapulted him to instant fame. The album was a breath of fresh air in the hip-hop community, offering a gritty, unfiltered look into DMX's life and struggles. It was a stark contrast to the polished, radio-friendly tracks that were dominating the charts at the time. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart, solidifying DMX's status as a force to be reckoned with in the world of hip-hop. This achievement was not just a personal victory for DMX, but also a significant moment for Def Jam, proving their ability to spot and nurture groundbreaking talent. DMX's music was a stark departure from the glossy, commercially driven hip-hop that dominated the airwaves at the time. His sound was a raw, unpolished reflection of his life experiences, resonating deeply with fans who were looking for something real and authentic. His sound was raw, aggressive, and deeply personal, reflecting the harsh realities of his upbringing and the struggles he had faced. Growing up in Yonkers, New York, DMX had experienced a life filled with hardship, and his music was a direct reflection of those experiences. His lyrics were gritty and confessional, delving into themes of poverty, violence, addiction, and spiritual searching. Each song was a window into his soul, offering listeners a glimpse of his inner turmoil and his quest for redemption. DMX's music connected with listeners on a visceral level. Fans found solace in his words, relating to his struggles and finding strength in his resilience. His ability to articulate the pain and triumphs of his life made him a voice for the voiceless. He wasn't afraid to be vulnerable, to expose his flaws and insecurities. This vulnerability was a key part of his appeal, as it made him relatable and human in a genre often characterized by bravado and machismo. This authenticity, coupled with his booming voice and commanding stage presence, made him one of the most electrifying performers in hip-hop history. His live shows were legendary, filled with raw energy and emotion that left audiences in awe. He poured his heart and soul into every performance, leaving audiences spellbound and energized. Each concert was more than just a show, it was an experience, a journey through DMX's life and emotions. His debut album's success was quickly followed by a string of platinum-selling albums, including Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood in 1998. This album continued to build on the themes of his debut, offering more insight into his life and struggles. And then there was X in 1999. This album featured some of his most iconic tracks, further cementing his place in hip-hop history. These albums cemented DMX's status as a hip-hop icon, a voice for the voiceless and an artist who refused to compromise his vision. His unwavering commitment to his art and his ability to stay true to himself made him a legend in the music industry. DMX's star power wasn't limited to music.
On April 2, 2021, he suffered a heart attack triggered by a cocaine overdose. Rushed to a hospital in White Plains, New York, DMX fell into a coma. Despite the prayers and vigils held by fans and fellow artists, he never regained consciousness. He was diagnosed as brain dead early on and tragically passed away on April 9 at the age of 50. DMX's death left a massive void in the hip-hop community. The Rough Riders, his musical family, continue to honor his legacy with events like the Ride Out. His story is a profound reminder of the battles many face behind the scenes and the importance of supporting those struggling with addiction. DMX's spirit lives on through his music and the countless lives he touched. Rest in power, DMX.